Much, Brother Gil, tell us about your road, because it's a good story, to cannabis and how you're moving forward down that path.
Well, I'll share the beginning and the end. All the middle, you guys will have to follow up on a different show because otherwise I'll hog the stage for too long. Starting
Professional,
in back
bro.
in 20, yeah, starting back into in 2000 or 1999 actually. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and lost 37 kilos of my weight in about 3 months. I was hospitalized in a military hospital, and no medicine seemed to have had any positive impact on me. Basically, the doctors thought that I'm going to die there. One of the doctors, reserves military doctor, who came to serve once a week as a gastroenterologist at the hospital, took me aside and gave me 5 roll joints and told me, listen, try this, it might work. I had no clue about what to expect. I had no clue what it means it might work. I just took the first joint and smoked it all, and then took the second one and smoked until I got really, really, and I mean really high. Whoever says that it didn't get high on the first time they smoked didn't smoke enough or didn't smoke the right stuff. I was high as a kite. I was munched out of my mind, and I didn't have any pain. And so for
Yeah.
the first time in 3 months, I went to eat. I went to the kitchens there, and I knocked on the door because it was 5:30. And you know the army; they're very strict with the hours. And it was like 6:30 was dinner time, and 5:30 was unacceptable. It's unheard of that somebody will be asking for food at this time. Even though it's a military hospital. Never mind that. I kept on pushing, and they said, "Well, it's the army. What we know how to do is to give you some spread before." So they gave me a loaf of bread and some chocolate spread, and told me, "Enjoy this until we open, the kitchens and service starts." Um, a bit before the hour was done, I was done with the entire loaf of bread and chocolate spread, and I don't know how my face looked when I was pushing the door as the first soldier in to take food, but I was still hungry. So I ate, and I
Yes.
ate some more. And then I went to the gastroenterologist telling him, "Hey, it worked. I smoked like a joint and a half and I ate. How's this supposed to work? How long is this supposed to, last and whatnot?" And he goes like, "Well, first of all, if you ate so much, smoke a bit more. Second, I'll feed you 5 of those small roll joints 3 times a day while you're hospitalized here. And three, please, please keep it between us." Okay, that seemed fair enough, obviously. I forgot to mention I did have in my same room of the military hospital a guy that was at the same hospital, but he came from the military prison to get treated. So he was connected about 12 hours a day to a military police officer who, for the other 12 hours a day, tied this guy to the bed and just stayed around the same room and within very, very close vicinity. So after bribing him with 1 joint a day to keep quiet, it went well. To be
It's a
honest.
cannabis world. It's not a cannabis friendly world, man. You got to do what you got to do for your own health. Yeah.
Hey, I did what I had to do, and a week later, I was, home for the first time for the weekend, which was amazing. But I went to my GP and I told him, "Listen, this military doctor dude gave me some joints and cannabis, and it helps." And my doctor, my GP, goes and says, like, it's illegal, but I'm not opposing it. So if it helps, all good for you. Monday morning, I'm back at the army at the military hospital with a visit to my doctor. And I told him, "Listen, I spoke to my GP and he said that he doesn't oppose it and, that it's not legal, but he's not opposing it." Now, my military doctor turned 2 shades paler than the wall that was painted white the day earlier in his office. picked me up about a foot in the air and screamed to my face, "I'm trying to save your life. Why are you trying to destroy mine?"
Oh my God.
I was dumb. I was young and naive. I had no idea, and I didn't think of the implications of if my GP would have said something, because this guy saved my life and was about to face an immediate, no questions asked, 20 years jail time for providing me cannabis in the army.
Ah.
So obviously, I kept it a secret from that moment on. And now that it's past the statute of limitations, I can share the story. Um, that's how I got onto cannabis for the very first time. I have not had any prior experience myself. I had many friends who used it. I never found it appealing earlier. I grew up in a household that was very anti-drugs. You know, cannabis will lead to heroin and all that crap. And very patriotic household. So, you know, you have to go and serve your country. So after I served my country in the military and was released for medical reasons, I continued to serve my country until I was released in the end with honors after completing my full service. And this thing that, you know, this little thought that it can't be, I mean, the world cannot continue to exist in a way that this medicine helps me and I'm a law abiding citizen and it's against the law. So something must change. It's either I'm going to die or the law is going to change. So there you go. That's what's going to change. And I just started working at it. And I applied for a license from the Ministry of Health and started working with the Greenleaf Party, who were the first guys to pick up the legalization thingy, you know, kind of movement. It wasn't even a thing back then. And carried the medical cannabis and moved on. And actually, 4 years later, in 2004, I was the first licensee in Israel to receive his license without having to go through the courts. And this opened up the gates for many more patients to apply directly with the Ministry of Health without the added costs of going to court and get licensed. So I was patient number 7 licensed to use cannabis in Israel, the first to have had a sort of a cooperative where I cultivated and gave away cannabis for free for patients who needed it. So it was basically a compassion club that was approved by the Ministry of Health. And at that point, when we expanded this and some volunteers wanted to take on this cultivation thing and go make bigger farms, I decided that as a patient, I'm much more equipped and adequate in educating patients and family members and doctors and nurses and everybody about the cannabis and how it actually helps people rather than growing it because I'm a patient.